Hey guys, the movie I'm going to be talking about today is Once Bitten. That's right, another Jim Carrey movie. This time it's an early one from 1985, and it's very likely to be the first Jim Carrey film a lot of people saw. Okay, I remember renting this movie from the video store and not really understanding most of it. I watched this movie probably too young, but I've rewatched it many times since, and I have a good amount of fondness for this film. This movie has an innocence to it that it's pure nostalgia for me watching this movie. I mean, it's a movie by Howard Storm, who only directed this movie. I think that's the only movie he ever did, and that's a shame because I feel like this movie has some really interesting shots in it, interesting dream sequences. I really like the opening shot. Is this kind of like one shot, like a literally one shot, really long one, tracking shot following Cleavon Little's character. He plays the kind of butler of Lauren Hutton's countess, who is actually Cleavon Little is not just a butler; he's a vampire himself. But he's basically like awesome in this movie, and it got me thinking: how many other movies did Cleavon Little do? Because I've only ever seen him in Blazing Saddles and this movie, and he was freaking incredible in both of them. I need to start hunting down Cleavon Little movies because he is so funny in this movie. Oh my god. He is, every time he's on the screen, whether he's just making faces or like the way that he says things, his lines is just so funny. The guy is so funny in this movie. And honestly, Jim Carrey, even though this is 1985, he's got his style down already. He doesn't overdo the kind of like physical comedy stuff in this movie too much. He's got some sharp bursts, especially as he starts to turn into a vampire, where he does kind of like dip into it a little bit, starts making faces, etc. But he's meant to be playing this guy who's a virgin. So he brings a lot of innocence to his character and frustration. That doesn't really express itself in just wild Ace Ventura shenanigans, right? It just kind of expresses itself in just him kind of babbling or just kind of like looking around the room, just being very, very innocent, very naive. It's a very naive character he's playing here, and still a very likable character. But Jim Carrey's acting is already really, really good here. Underrated performance by the actor, I think. He is very, very good. The movie begins, and this countess, who is obviously a very old vampire, she has to, in order to stay young looking, at least, she needs to get the blood of a virgin 3 times. So she kind of goes to this kind of like dating cafe or like a bar. She goes to a bar which there's like these telephones shaped like mouths, like lips, which it was kind of like burned in my brain. I completely forgot about the design of this kind of dating bar. But anyway, Jim Carrey has 2 kind of dorky friends, obviously virgins as well, and they're good actually. They're pretty good. They're really like, if you think Jim Carrey's character is really dorky and naive in this movie, his 2 friends are like another level below, you know? They're funny. They're decent comic relief. Not that you need comic relief when you have Jim Carrey in your movie, which is why I tend to forget about these guys. But they're pretty good. Now, the Countess goes to the dating bar where Jim Carrey and his friends happen to be at. And she starts hitting on Jim Carrey and takes him back to her place, where she basically bites his nuts. Well, not the nuts, but like she bites him like just on the groin, and then he passes out as she drinks his blood. But he doesn't know what happened. Like he wakes up in the morning and he's like, "What happened last night? Like did I score or what happened?" He thinks he did, and it's all about the kind of like this movie. You could see it a different way. You could see it as like someone going through their first time and kind of growing up, and being kind of worried about random stuff like whether it's STDs or other stuff like that. Or there's a little bit of dark kind of like undertone to this movie at times, which I think is we didn't need it in this movie. I feel like it's a little bit too real, where it's like you almost feel, you get the feeling from Jim Carrey's character that he kind of feels like he's been abused, you know? And it's kind of like dark undertone to the movie that I don't particularly like. I think this movie should have kept things light because he hasn't. Okay, he had kind of a consensual interaction with the Countess. It's just that she didn't really do what he thought she was gonna do. So it's kind of like also not consensual because she just freaking bit him. So she has to do it 2 more times. The Countess has to do that 2 more times. And also Jim Carrey's character already had he already had a girlfriend, a girl played by Karen Coppins, who initially I was like, I'm not sure about her performance, but she has these bursts of energy in this movie. She's good. She's actually good in this movie. I like her performance. And this movie basically follows Jim Carrey as the Countess kind of hunts him down a couple of times, makes his life very difficult with his family, with his friends, etc. Creates a lot of funny, weird situations. The one problem I have with this movie is like sometimes there's some scenes in this movie are just odd, and that they go on for way too long. You know what I mean? Like even the dream sequences that I like, they go on for a while. You know, like there's a scene in the bathroom where it's like it's not really in the bathroom. It's like in the school, the showers, where Jim Carrey's friends are trying to like see if he has a mark on his groin because Jim Carrey's girlfriend told him to do that. And it's like everyone's naked and they're just kind of like naked wrestling in the showers. And it's a really long, not that funny scene. Like it's funny, but it's like we could have trimmed that down. This movie could have trimmed a few of its scenes down, I think. There's another one as well that is a completely surreal scene that makes no sense, where Jim Carrey, the Countess, and his girlfriend start freaking like dancing all of a sudden. And okay, fine. Like the setting is like they're in the school. It's a school dance. I think it's Halloween, right? But why are they dancing together? Like the Countess sees the girlfriend as a threat. And the girlfriend sees the Countess as some kind of like pervert, you know, as some kind of like, you know, she's taking advantage of Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey's kind of in the middle, but they're all dancing together, this like really choreographed dance. So all I can think of is either they all talked about this off screen, that they were going to do this, or the Countess is hypnotizing them, but why would she be doing that? Or Jim Carrey's girlfriend thinks this is all something they planned for fun and she's jealous and she's joining it. No matter how you look at it, this scene makes no sense, but it's so 80s, it hurts. It's beautiful. It's beautiful in its own way, okay, in its own magical way. This is beautiful. And you know what? This movie doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you think about it for like more than 2 seconds. Like, did he not look at his groin like this whole time? Did he not see what happened? Can he not? I don't know. It doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. But Jim Carrey is so good in it. And honestly, the vibe of the movie is mostly pretty chill. Like, it's a fun movie to watch. It's got some funny parts in it. And it's interesting just because it is kind of an early Jim Carrey role. I do like the kind of vampire stuff. I think the vampire plot is good. It could have been better though. I think like the Countess, they should have told us a bit more about the Countess, because I feel like by the end you're like, why the fuck? If she was gonna literally turn into an old lady and lose part of her brain as that happens, if that's what was at stake, why didn't she like prepare like several virgins? Like, why would you bite him and just let him go? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just kidnap him and like put him to sleep and then wake him up when it's time to like freaking do the thing, and then just kill him off at the end? Like, or just get a bunch of different ones. Does it have to be the same guy? I feel like they try to explain that she has to like lure him, but it doesn't really make sense. Like, lure him how? Like, they don't really explore her powers. They don't really explore like why she's doing this really like in the way that she's doing it. But I like this movie a lot. I think it probably did well on video. I think it had kind of a cult vibe to it, this movie, because it's not every day you see like a horror comedy with like Jim Carrey, right? And that's where I saw it. I saw it on video, so I can only guess that this movie really killed it in video rentals and sales and stuff. So I think people know about this movie and like this movie overall. Like I said, Cleavon Little is freaking sensational in this movie. Again, I wish they'd gotten him to do a little bit more. I feel like almost like the ending chase, if you can call it that, should have been a little bit more satisfying. I think Cleavon Little should have defended the Countess a lot more. It should have had more impact, that ending. Look, it's not one of the best movies ever made, okay? It's a flawed film. It just has a lot of charm. This movie is bursting with charm. You really like all these characters, and just seeing them in the movie it's enough, you know. And it's so 80s, and it feels like a 80s teen movie. It's a good looking movie, and it's got some clever stuff in it, some inventive stuff in it, some stuff that makes literally no sense. But you know what? I can give it a pass. I've got a lot of nostalgia for this film. I know a lot of other people do as well. Look, if you want to see like a really good movie, this is probably not it. I'm gonna be honest with you. But if you want to see just a fun kind of 80s comedy with like with Jim Carrey and vampires, why wouldn't you check it out? I mean, it's not bad. It's good fun. This movie is just good fun. It's a good time. It's nothing, you know. It's not a masterpiece. It's got some problems, but I do recommend it. Like, yeah, why not? Check it out. I think it's on some streaming network. I don't know if it's Amazon or something, but yeah, you can find it. It's out there. All right, check it out. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next review.